Okay, welcome to Monday. And basically, this week, we're going to continue our trend with Perks of a Wallflower, but we're going to add some different things to it. I'm going to offer you a little bit of extra credit, see if it's available. So, essentially, you should have been right on part 2 of the Wallflower. And it starts around, I want to say 48-ish. Yes. Okay, so with that being said, it ends around 108-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood. And what I want you to do is finish part 2 by probably, I want to say, Monday at the end of the period. It's not as long. I'll give you till Tuesday into the period. I'll have another one up by Monday, hopefully, which will be a new one. But anyways, what you're going to be doing is I want you to, while you're reading this, think about some different aspects of the story that you're reading. And with that in mind, here's how I kind of want you to do. When you are looking at these questions or these study guide questions, I want you to think about, because some of these are open-ended questions, and so they're not going to have the same answer. Everybody's going to have a different point of view on it. For instance, let's say, this number 1. What exactly are the perks of being a wallflower? Well, have any of you asked what a wallflower is? I mean, it's not like a flower, okay, and it doesn't sit on a wall. So when you look up the definition of the wallflower, basically what you have is a person that fits the perfect description of Charlie, which is a person, because of shyness or unpopularity, that they don't have a partner. They remain on the kind of like on the sidelines. They're on the wall, things like that. They're called wallflowers, and they kind of blend in with everything around them, but they never interact. So they're good at keeping secrets. They're good at knowing secrets. They are really, when they say part of the wallpaper, that's exactly what they are, because they never get involved with life. So here's your extra credit. Well, first let's start with the study guide question. So let's say, friend, what are the perks of being a wallflower? Okay, well, one of the perks of being one is, let's say, a person never has to worry about risking their emotional stability, nor do they have to worry about broken friendships or relationships, because they are not emotionally involved, or socially for that matter. After all, if you don't participate, you can't ever win, but you can't ever lose, and so therefore you just don't play the game. And that's just one of many that you could put at perks of being a wallflower. Wallflowers have lots of positives that can come from that, but there's a lot of negatives as well. So when you're writing, these are short answers. That's why there's only 30 of them for this entire book, not an arsenal of them like we've had in the past, because it asks you to really dig deep into what you know and what you're seeing about this character, and sometimes putting yourself in their shoes and understanding what it is that they're going to do. Like, for instance, what do you think Charlie will do after high school? We don't know, because the book ends at the end of his freshman year. It doesn't go all the way through high school. So the thought process is based on his trend and what you've seen in his behavior. What do you predict might happen to him, and how will he interact with society when he's ready to go out on his own? And this is only something that you can come up with. And so it's important to understand the character, because you want to give a realistic approach to how they're going to respond. Now, here's an opportunity for you for extra credit. Now, as you very well know, Charlie's all about the classics and musics from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. There's a few 90s in there, but ultimately these songs are from a past. And I'll venture to say that you as a reader, know very few of these songs. So, here's what I'm looking at for your extra credit. As you're reading this, and you are seeing, or you're reading, and you know, when they start talking about the Rocky Horror film or things like that, and they talk about making a cassette tape, because that's really a big thing. I'm making a cassette tape for somebody. I'm making a cassette tape for somebody. And a lot of you probably are just like, oh, God, that's so stupid. But you have to understand that music resonates with people. They respond to it, and they care about it. And so when somebody goes out of their way to make you a playlist, okay, with music on it, they're doing so because they're trying to connect with you, and they're connecting about your sensibilities of who you are, how you think, how you feel, maybe some of the trials that you're going through of depression, or you've lost someone or something like that. And they try to, because they care about you and they think that they know you, they put together a collage of music that you will appreciate and love, and that you will listen to over and over and over again. And that's essentially what putting these cassette tapes is for, is putting them all together and finding, you know, that connection. So here's your assignment. What I want you to do is you would start a new document, and we'd call this the perks of being a wallflower. Extra credit. Now, what this will replace is one big homework assignment that you had. Now, we've had a couple big ones here lately, and some of you have not done very well on them. Some of you have, blah, blah, blah. But it will replace one of those, which is very important, with a 100. And so I want you to create a list. 1, 2, 3. And as you create this, I want you to put the song. So you're going to have the song, you're going to have the artist, and you're going to have the lyrics for each one. And you are going to have the year it was published. Okay? So when we are looking back on, and I don't know if I can find one right off the top of my head. Let's just shoot right into the 40s here. See if I can find one. Generally speaking, when you find one of the songs that he puts together, and maybe we'll find one here. This is when they're going down the tunnel. Friday Night, Sam, radio commercials. I just found a song, but it doesn't say what the song is. Anyways, when we find a song that you're reading about in this book, I want you to use one of those songs. I want you to pull it out, especially when they're talking about putting together a few of the cassette tapes, okay? And then as you see them, I want you to research them. Find me the name of, obviously you have the name of the song, but what you don't have is the artist and the lyrics that go along with it. And see, this is important, and it'll help you understand these characters a little better by listening to some of the lyrics, because the lyrics themselves have a like here's one right here called Blackbird, or MLK. And so what we would do is, let's copy that MLK and go to the internet, take a look at, we could do it any number of ways. MLK song, and we'll find out what it is. 10th Final Song. It's the U2 1984 album. So here we go. So now I'm looking in here, and I'm looking for MLK, and it's by U2. If you don't know who that is, I don't know where you've been. But so let's say MLK. Then it would be by U2, and the lyrics are as follows. which I think I can find here. Maybe. Alright, well, I'll just have to find the lyrics real quick. MLK lyrics. And then usually you can find them here. Alright, so I've got the lyrics. I'm going to highlight them. It's not a very long song, as you can obviously see. Copy. Go to Word. Paste. And so now I've got the lyrics, and now I want to know the year. Okay, I got the date. Now I need the date of when this was, and it was 1986. Okay, and that would be number 1. And so if you look at this, and you look at kind of the words on it, it makes sense. Okay, the author who wrote this story didn't just pick random words just to pick them. He picked them for a reason. He picked songs for a reason. So if you want to do the extra credit, I am looking for at least 15 of the songs, and there's quite a few in there, but 15. So you need extra credit, 15 songs. And of the 15, I want you to have these things done. I will have an extra credit drop box there, and it is due at the end of when we are reading. Okay, so as you go along, if you want to do the extra credit, great. You might actually learn a few things, and you know what you might actually do too is take this and put it into basically YouTube and listen to the song itself, because it's even better when you know what the song is about and what it sounds like. And it's important, especially when we are talking about, well, something that these kids are listening to in the story. Okay? All right, so with that being said, Tuesday, you need to have part 2 read. So when we go into Tuesday and stuff, you know, we're starting on part 3. And that's going to be a lot of, the part 3 is going to be some meat and potatoes, and the conflict's going to begin in earnest, and then especially part 4. And if you want to work on the extra credit, please do so along with your study guide. That's it. Good luck.